What's up, guys? Amster Knows Hoops back today with episode 2 of the Rebuild Report. And I really wanted to thank you guys for all your support on the Orlando Magic Rebuild Report from a couple of videos ago, almost 1,000 views at the time I'm recording it. I have nothing but love for everything you guys have done. So don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord in the description as always. And let's get into episode 2. This time we are discussing the Houston Rockets. And this team right now is just sitting at one game below 500 with the top 10 defense in this league and about 15 to 16 in offense, which isn't terrible. Again, if you're going to have an elite defense, at least you have a middle of the road offense. So at least you have something to back it up. So without further ado, let's get into today's video and figure out why this Rockets team has finally seemed to found their mojo and their success. And of course, we first have to talk about defense. So obviously here, New Orleans now gets to start pushing a little bit in transition. They get the ball to Brandon Ingram, and they get into their set offense. You have Jalen Green here trying to guard Ingram to the best of his ability. Obviously, he's not really meant to be that great of a defender. Sengun kind of helps a little bit of a trap. You got Jabari Smith, and now you have his man staying in front of Zion, forcing Zion, like we talked about in the Pelicans video more recently, to try and have to get to his left hand. Forces a really, really uncomfortable shot. And even though Zion gets back, right, you see Jabari Smith has his hands up. Jabari Smith is fighting through this to try and maintain some form of dominance on the boards and to really fight for this possession. Zion goes back up, gets the bucket. But again, the effort on those plays were not here last year, or the last 2 years with former coach Silas. So again, you're going to get the ball here to Najee Marshall. Not Najee Marshall, my apologies. And then now you're going to get the screener, right? Zion goes in. But again, just notice here what Jabari Smith Jr. does. The moment he notices Zion sort of does his tap at the left shoulder, he automatically starts going. Because like we talked about before, you know where Zion's trying to get, to his left. So forcing him left in a more uncomfortable position to have to take a shot like that is obviously going to be helpful. And even though he gets this rebound, you can see Jabari Smith gets the tip and forces him to do something along with Tari Eason, who's been actually a really good role player for this team so far this season. And again, this defense cannot be understated. They finally have that identity. So again, BI goes over the pick. Eason is on him as much as he humanly can be. Forces the pull-up shot early in the shot clock for the Pelicans, and now the Rockets are able to try to get out in a 4-on-5 or 4-on-4 situation where they might be much better off. So again, you're going to see Valanciunas trying to get that little pick to get the separation for Ingram. Again, the closeout here, beautiful work by the Rockets, sticking tight to Ingram, really making him have to make the decision to be the scorer or the playmaker. Now you have 4 seconds on the clock, forces an incredibly tough jumper and misses. Again, even though they get these tip backs, the fight on these possessions matter for a team like Houston. This is culture. This is how you build a team to what you need to succeed. Just outright and simple, there's a culture now in Houston. There was not one before with Coach Silas. There just wasn't. I'm sorry if you were a fan of Coach Silas or the fan of the teams of the past, last couple of years. They had no culture here. Quite frankly, they just did it. So again, we now got to talk about, I believe, the best, one of the better players on this team here. And we're about to see that though, again, BI, tough shot. Sengun fighting for the ball. Alperen Sengun, man, has been huge for this team. Forcing the jump ball here, by the way, incredibly tough fashion. And of course, Dillon Brooks being Dillon Brooks, always a little bit extra. But it's what you sign up for. Sengun is the best player on this team. I'm just going to put it out there. We're going to start with that conversation. It's not Jalen Green. The cornerstone right now, if you are the Houston Rockets front office, you're like, okay, how do we draft? How do we want to build? You're building around the idea that Sengun's your best player right now because Jalen Green, we're going to get into it later, had a long way to go before we really see that potential that a lot of people have hyped up for him being realized. So again, we're going to talk about the greatness of Sengun. So you got Jalen Green here, right? Sengun positioning himself, fighting with Nikola Jokic, who, by the way, has so much more size than him. Gets the swipe from Reggie Jackson. Operating out of the post. So dangerous, right? Reggie Jackson forces the double into him. And because actually Jokic does hit a decent job at defending the rim, instead of Sengun forcing a shot up, he sees, boom, wide open, Fred VanVleet. That's going to be a make a lot of the times. Those are the shots you trust. Again, transition offense, right? You're going to see now, I don't know why Sengun's walking here. Come on, you got to help push the tempo a little bit. Right, so he starts to get into a run. Right? And this is something we're going to talk about later when we get to what he's been doing at score. And I noticed it in the more recent Lakers game. Once he gets this free ball down, I'm telling you, we'll get into it, but it changes the entire offense here. So again, you have Sengun here. He's not really getting respected by Jokic at all for his three ball. Sets the pick, rolls to create a little bit of separation for VanVleet, gets the bounce pass out. You already know where this ball is going, right? He fakes a pass to Dillion Brooks. So at this point, MPJ and Jokic are still kind of like, oh, well, we got to be able to help stop the mid. Instead, far kick out to, I believe that's Jeff Green for the corner three. Sengun's operation out of the post is so beautiful. And this is the pass I watched live. Not like in person, but, watching the game. One of the prettiest passes I've seen in a minute. I just watched this, right? Gets the ball, right? VanVleet moves over, so you had that sort of moment of hesitation. Sengun looks over. He's like, okay, what do I got going on here? Already passes the ball behind him. The defense isn't ready. They're still waiting for him to kick out of the post. And Jabari Smith just gets the easy lay-in. That is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful example of the mindset of Sengun and how he is operating as a playmaker for this team. Again, this is what they need. So Sengun's pushing. He always maintains a good enough distance for the lay from the defending champs, right? You've got guys in your face, but at that point, by the time Sengun's actually all the way up, it's just him in the rim. And the only person that you would blame if he missed this shot is himself. So the beautiful lay-in by Sengun. Again, this team just needs Sengun, right? So boom. Jokic is in drop. And I noticed this with the Lakers game too, because AD would kind of stand out there, guard him, drop. Whoever was on Sengun, it's always drop. Right? Because he likes to work in the post. But if he can add this three ball, I'm telling you, it changes everything, you guys. This whole Houston team is flipped upside down if Sengun can splash threes. There would be nothing, and I mean nothing, that this team could not do. It would be too much for them. They're too good of a team if they can get the three ball going, and then you have Sengun who can operate from the perimeter and the post. That changes the whole dynamic. So that's really what you're hoping for from Sengun going forward. But now we got to talk about, the guy who was actually given the reins, the guy that everyone thinks should be the best player, Jalen Green, right? So he's going to get this off-ball screen here, right? You see Sengun sort of calling for it, which is understandable because he's kind of trapped in the corner. There's only 11 seconds. Get the ball out, try and keep moving. But moments like this are why I wonder what Jalen Green's really trying to do. Because this is just frustrating to watch. Why? What is the thought on that? You were not going to get a foul there. That's just an insane shot decision. I don't understand what the thought process there is, right? Misses wide open three. I'm not even mad at that because, again, when he's actually been open, he's been hitting. So I have no issue with you missing because, again, these dudes are human. They're all going to miss. The issue isn't that they're missing, right? So, okay, get the ball back, right? Back out to Jalen. This is just, to me, a foolish decision because now you're forcing it running away. And that, to me, is just a tough leg, especially when you have a center like Mark Williams right there ready to fight for it, right? He gets the board. And instead of just kicking it back out to Fred, decides, let me try taking on the center, hoping I get a foul. And, again, these moments are just unacceptable. They just are. Again, Jalen Green here, right? Uses Sengun as a screener here more at the top of the key, right? This shot just takes a little too long, right? And this is part of the issue because when Jalen Green does get some of these half-decent shots sometimes, it's just like the decision-making and the ability to go, yeah, this is the shot, dissipates. And I don't understand why, and I don't see why. But I think Jalen Green seems to show he's at his best when he can sit off ball. Right? So let's just take a look, right? You're going to get Jabari Smith here. Setting the screen. Right? Boom. Out to Dillon Brooks. Terry Rozier, funny enough, looks like he's shoving his man to get over there. Jalen Green wide open. And that's why I didn't get on for the other miss. He's going to hit when he's open. It seems when you can let Jalen Green have the least amount of like work he's really got to put in for his buckets is when he's at his best. At least so far in the NBA, when he seems to have to actually like put the ball down and do all these moves and to really force isolation play, it gets a little rough. Now this here, beautiful, right? Forces Brandon Miller to be on his hip. PJ Washington's too late at this point, and by the time Jalen Green hasn't even really started his gather, but now he has the gather, goes in, bucket. Right? This is what Jalen Green really needs, you guys. These are the plays. But to me, you cannot, and I repeat, you cannot be a 42% field goal shooter at year, what is it now, 3 or 4 for Jalen Green? I get it, right? Like, some of these young guys are going to struggle. That's human, and that's perfectly okay. I'm not saying you should be Kobe Bryant by year 3. But coming out of the draft, right, and even when he was struggling, the idea was, look at the glimpses of when he's great scoring. That's fine. But for every game that Jalen Green has that's a great scoring game, he'll then follow it up where he needs 11 shots for 9 points. And at that point, you're sitting there and you say, that's fine. I understand why you're valuing that. But at some point, we have to value what the player really does. So to me, if I had to give the grade for this rebuild report, I'm going to say about a B to a B+, because I love the defensive identity that Coach Udoka has installed in this team, the fact that there's actually a culture in this team. But I think this team is still 1 to 2 pieces away from the rebuild, from really being able to say, we just got to now focus sheerly on developing what we have right in front of us. And then at that point, sky's the limit. We'll figure out the rest when we get there. But we're not there yet. They're still a piece or 2 away. And that's okay. So to me, I'm going to give about a B to a B+, because again, considering where this team was a year ago, they had far exceeded my expectations. Like, far exceeded it. Because I just didn't, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't a buyer. Because, you know, Udoka is a 1-year coach, right? He had 1 year of experience, and it's like, okay, well, he had a really good roster. So at what point, you know, I mean, as a viewer, do you have to go, okay, he's just a product of being a part of a really good team immediately? But I think he's shown he's a solid to really good coach. And I think this team is just a couple pieces away, couple young pieces, some form of like, if you're able to figure it out, this will go somewhere. So let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with this grade? Do you think they should be an A, a C? What do you think? Who should I talk about next for the rebuild report? You obviously have teams like the Hornets, the Spurs. So as always, guys, this is Enter Nose Hoops. Thank you all so much for your support and your patience. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord in the description. As always, guys, this is Enter Nose Hoops. Peace out.